how to group some of these books together. So I've decided to group this next group as the more mature books. So just letting you know, I believe all of these books have at least language, if not violence, or some explicit content. So just a warning there. Let's go ahead and start. I really had no idea where to put this one, but I did listen to Prince Harry's book, Spare, and let's just go ahead. We don't need to beat around the bush. We know, we know where it goes. Yeah, I'm not going to really talk about this book. I did not like it. There's more I could say about this, but I'm just going to leave it right there. Okay, next, a man called, I believe it's pronounced Uwe or something like that, but I cannot, I cannot be relied on for pronunciation. So, you might know the movie A Man Called Otto with, okay, as soon as I think of names, they just vanish from my head. But yes, with the famous actor that my husband loves. I can't remember. All right. So this book, I really loved this. This was recommended to me by a dear friend in my book club, and I just loved it. It was so good. We watched both A Man Called Otto, and we watched I believe it's Swedish, the Swedish version of it as well. I actually liked the Swedish one a little better. So, great job there. And with that, also by, I think his name is Frederick Bachman. I don't know. Anyway, Anxious People. I have not seen the Netflix series. I think it's a Netflix series. I have not seen that, but I read the book. I loved A Man Called Ove. I loved it. And so I read a few other books by him, and I pretty much loved all of them. There were a couple I didn't love as much, but these two I both really enjoyed. Next up, we've got Da Vinci Code. I remember I was in high school. I think I was a sophomore, and while my dad was shopping at Costco, I was looking over at all the books in Costco. And I happened to pick up this one, and I read the insert and like the first chapter. And he's got the really short, like 1 to 2 page, maybe 3 pages if it's a long chapter, the really short ones. And I just loved the intensity of the writing style, just the fast pace of it. And I was like, I really want this book. So my dad bought this book for me, and I've read pretty much every Dan Brown book. I think I started to listen to the audio for his latest one, and I got kind of freaked out about some of the gore in there. But anyway, I do enjoy Dan Brown. I'm gonna put him in Made Me Think because I in some ways it makes me think, in some ways I just have to shut my brain off and just go with it. But I feel like especially Da Vinci Code, I just really enjoyed this book. Like I said, the action was really fast paced. I thought the riddles and stuff were fun. I wish I were, you know, informed enough to actually understand some of the leaps and bounds that they go by with all these different clues and things, but I feel like it's really fun, and I feel smart for learning about art and different things with these books. So I enjoy them, even though there are definitely things I don't enjoy about the books. All right, let's do Ready Player One. I feel like if I were born earlier, if I were a little older, that maybe this would be part of my personality. I don't know enough about the 80s. I was technically born in the 80s, so but I don't know enough about 80s culture. I don't know all the video games. I don't know all the movies and things, but I feel like if I just loved 80s culture, this for sure would be part of my personality. I goodness. I really liked this one. It did kind of make me think a little bit. It made me want to go back and, you know, read and not read, but like watch these movies and play these games and just be more into it. Because I felt like even as someone who doesn't really appreciate all the games and movies and whatnot, I really appreciated the way, like the care, right? Like this author, Ernest Cline, he clearly loves these things, and it made me feel like I loved them too, even though many of them I'm sorry, I'm not like a big 80s geek. So anyway, I really enjoyed this book. I kind of want to say I love it, but it just, what really brought me down was the sequel. The movie was passable, but the sequel, oh my gosh, the sequel I couldn't even enjoy. So I'm not sure where to put this one. I'm gonna leave it in enjoyed. I thought it was fascinating. Like I said, it made me want to be in this world, and I really loved that. So moving along, we're gonna do The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This one, um, certainly the first book is not. I know Sarah J. Maas, she's really well known for her A Court of Thorns and Roses, anyway, she's known for those books, which are uh, heavy on the spice. And this one is not heavy on the spice. I don't think there's really any spice in this book. Maybe in some of the sequels, a tiny, tiny bit, but I don't think I don't know if I finished the series or not, but I loved this book in particular. I thought this first book was really well done. I loved all the assassin stuff in there. It was violent. Um, so just a warning there. I think there might be language. I can't remember for sure, but I love this one. When I listened to the audio for this book, this like I had already been tossing around the idea for the novel that I've written, but this book is when I went, you know what? I need to sit down and write it. So, like, this didn't inspire my book, but this inspired me to sit down and actually write the book that I had been, thinking about for a long time. So, I put a little bit of, there's like a little fondness in there. So, maybe it's part of my personality a little bit because I do, I feel like my main character is a little bit influenced by her, or at least, like, I feel like my main character would be a huge fan of this book. So anyway, maybe I'll leave it up there just because, it did help me. It gave me that little extra push to start writing my novel. All right, Aurora Rising. I loved this series too. Um, it's a trilogy, a little bit of spice, especially as you move on. The language, like the first book, there's only one F-bomb if I remember correctly. And then the second one, there's a little bit more. And then the third one, this just goes up exponentially. But anyway, I still loved this series. I especially loved listening to it. The voice cast was so good. Um, yeah, I liked it so much I had my husband listen to it too. I might just have to put it up here just because I really appreciated it. I thought, like I said, the voice cast was well done. I thought the writing was well done. I thought it was really well thought of. Definitely made me think. Um, I I thought it was phenomenal. I think they might be turning it into a movie or something. I'm not positive on that, but I hope they do, and I hope it's not too inappropriate because I loved it. I loved it. All right. Anyway, moving on. Another highly inappropriate one. This will be our last one for today. Good Omens. And this was also turned into a Netflix adaptation. I believe it's no Prime, Amazon Prime adaptation, and I really loved both of them. I know it's got a lot of language and stuff, but it for sure made me think. I thought it was really well written and quirky and bizarre, and I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it in. It made me think because there's so much to it, and I really enjoyed it. All right, so these are my mature content, so don't let your teens read these books. um, anyway, my mature content books, and I enjoyed most of them. All right, that'll be it for now. Bye.